Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. This is Kasank Ma Kaparu with another broadcast for you. And today I want to talk about flat earther. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. This is Kasank Ma Kaparu with another broadcast for you. Okay, I want to get into that whole realm. But let me just make sure I fix my my makeup and everything so I can look pretty. All right, okay, here we go. Anyway, let's start this, get this puppy started on the right foot here. I used to work with this really great cinematographer, and whenever we were going to shoot a scene, he was like, let's shoot this puppy. So I was going to make a t-shirt that said that for him, you know. But spent the whole day running around, so I'm like really exhausted. And I'm getting a lot of emails from everyone asking me about what happened with my person and the famous actress whose name I won't mention. But, you know, she's in the blog post. If you read like the news and you know, those, you know, like Hollywood Reporter and all that other stuff that frequently mentions me. If you are reading of those blogs, you'll read the story about myself and this actress who shall remain nameless, but she's an A-list actor or actress who thought it was kind of funny to sit on a sacred stone and laughed about it. But whoa, hey, look, to each his own. If you know, what do I know about that? But anyway, so I was at a Hollywood party, right? And I ran into this actress who shall remain nameless. And I said to her, I said, how you doing? What's up? So when are you, well, the first thing I should have realized was she was holding a wine glass. So then I said, how are you? And then I said, so she says, hi. I said, you know, my name is Kasank Ma Keparu, you know. I'm sure you know who I am. And she said, no. I was like, well, you must don't get around a lot. Anyway, so then I said, I started talking about her last film, which I kind of liked. I didn't like her in the film, but I liked the last film. And some of you wrote in the emails, like, is it Scarlett Johansson? I'm like, no, Scarlett and I are cool now. We're cool. You know, so you kind of went down a list of actresses. And I said, if you just read the news reports and the blog posts, it was written about. So I'm not going to like mention a name. You'll go find out on your own. But anyway, long story short, so I looked at her and I said, so when are you planning to take acting lessons? And the next thing I know, she throws the wine in my face and it goes all over my clothing. Okay. So, and it happened to be red wine, which that's hard to get out. And that's like, burned my eyes, man. That really burned my eyes. But anyway, and then, you know, when I got a towel and wiped myself off, she had already left. I think she actually told security on me. I'm like, wait, you threw the wine in my face, Miss Diva. So don't be going to tell the security, right? So anyway, a little while later, about a week or two later, I think it was 2 weeks later, I'm at another party and I'm with a friend of mine. His name is Charles. And Charles goes, look, there she is. There she is. And she was at this party. So I'm just like, don't know how to react. I'm standing there. Don't know even why I'm telling you guys the story. But anyway, so I turn away from her so she couldn't see my face. And the next thing I hear is someone yelling, hi, yellow. Hey, hi, yellow. Hi, yellow. And I look at Charles and I'm just like, I know that's not her calling me. And I turn around and lo and behold, it's her calling me. So obviously she was a bit tipsy, you know what I mean? So I went over there and I talked to her. And one of the first things I said to her is, look, we cool, right? She goes, yeah, hi, yellow. I said, no, my name is Kasank Ma Keparu. And then she proceeds to mispronounce it in every way possible. But anyway, so you'll read about that. If you go to the forums, you can read and find out who the famous actress is. Just put it this way. She gets about $20 million per picture. And if I had known that, I probably would have brought my lawyer because I'm still trying to get that wine. Who drinks red wine too at that time of day? That's kind of weird, isn't it? Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress. We're here to talk about something very important, which is flat earth agents. So I haven't, hold up. These are pretty good, man. These veggie chips, I got to read and see how healthy they are. Because I think just because they put veggie, people are think it's all healthy because it has carrot chips and all that in there. But it depends on the way they cook it. You know what I mean? So excuse me, I was running around, didn't have time to do much. All right. So and I had a wonderful lunch. It was a southwestern southwestern chicken salad. Chicken was imitation. It was made out of soy meat and everything. It was really good, very spicy. I was like, after I was eating that, I was like, I had to get some water. I was like, wow, this is hot. But roll call, okay. So Asep Ma'at Heptepu, Tia Hetepu, Namaste, D Harun Nefer. All right, so here we go, flat Earth, right? So I haven't been keeping up with the whole flat Earth thing, right? So I just pretty much ignored it or kept it on the peripheral. So by accident, I have these social media people who work for me, and they will go online and make me members of certain groups, right? So accidentally, they made me a member of the Flat Earth group, right? So I'm like, well, let me take myself off. So before I could do that, I get an IM from them, and they go, well, Kasank, why did you want to become a member of the Flat Earth group? And I was like, I don't know. It was by accident, but I just said, well, I'm curious. And next thing I know, they blocked me. I'm like, what? All I said was, I'm curious. And they blocked me. I'm like, do they know who I am? You know? And that really told a lot about them. And in my mind, I was like, well, this is obvious that this whole Flat Earth movement is created by the government. The same way rap music was. And if you don't think rap music was created by the government, you need to do your research, okay? So you have all of these organizations out there that are created as a part of social engineering to steer the population in a certain direction, you know? So you have to be careful of what you think is organic is not really organic. You know, it's not coming out of like the soul and the hearts of people or coming from South Bronx or Brooklyn. It's really coming from these think tank institutions, which puts it out there. You know what I mean? Just like if you look at the major universities today, they're injected with feminism. That feminism is coming directly from these occult think tank institutions who work in conjunction with the CIA. So be careful of just watch what you're getting involved with. So anyway, it was I knew for a long time that there were certain aspects of the conspiracy theory community, the UFO community, the white nationalist community, the black national community, that were created by the government to create factions so they could fight amongst each other. And to me, Flat Earth was very clearly that. And part of that also is to retard the progress of the masses of the population. They want us to go back to the dark ages, but as you see my broadcasts, we are still in the dark ages. We've always been there because we're not operating with both hemispheres of the brain. We're operating just on the left hemisphere, I got two special guests that have come in. Annette Charak, that means you give praise to Annette Charak Sebek, all right? And then Annette Charak Tehuti, all right? Some call him Fa, and some call him Anubis. All right. So Tuti is right brain, and Sebek is left brain. Tuti's wisdom. Sebek is logic, facts, names, definitions. Tehuti synthesis. Sebek is a segregative or syllogistic thought process. All right. So just so we keep that in mind. And a lot of people wonder, well, why do you keep focusing on the whole idea of left and right brain hemispheres? So there's two things you need to keep in mind. There is the aspect of dual brain and dual brain, and they're spelled very differently. Is the way we have been set up is to have both brains oppose each other instead of both brains integrating with each other and working with each other, because that is how you understand truth in the greater perspective. You're not going to understand truth working out of the left brain. It's just going to create more problems for you. So this whole idea of the flat Earth is just ridiculousness. And I think it's like you have these agents who are probably just laughing at putting this information out and seeing how far it can go. Just like in the way they've infiltrated the UFO community, and you'll see all these like UFO programs are, we've got a dead body from Area 51, and it's going to be live, and all you have to do is pay $50 in this PayPal account, and you can see the actual dead body of this alien. So some of this stuff is being put out like these UFO footage by the government to mislead and misdirect you, and also make you fearful of alien contact, because part of it is part of the contingency plans. Is that they have this whole thing where they want to stage a fake UFO invasion. All right. Kind of like Independence Day. But anyway, so I'm looking at your comments. What you guys are saying? Okay. Water doesn't bend, and it's called, okay, that's just a distraction. All right. And I always say that you want to get to the heart and the source of things, because too much we deal in this society with the effects and never the cause. And this is the basis of Chinese medicine, homeopathy, because it really gets to the heart of the matter. It looks at the cause, and it doesn't just examine the effects, which could be, when we look at certain things, that you understand the butterfly effect, how our butterfly can be flapping his wings, halfway across the planet and still affect what's going on here. And the idea is that there's an indirect relationship that connects everything and binds everything, which is the Ma'at philosophy, that everything is interdependent and interrelated. All right. So just keep that in mind. So when we talk about this whole thing about the flat Earth, now, I like to have them explain to me, how could there be a flat Earth? Because the flat Earth denotes or presupposes that you have an up and a down, okay? Because the flat Earth is where the water, the mountains, and all that exists. So, and I also like them to explain to me, how is it that when you look at the solar system, you see other planets that are round, okay? And I'll explain how that relates to my point. Well, anyway, going back to the idea of the flat Earth and everything is on top there, is that space does not have an up or a down. And you need to understand that very, very clearly. Space does not have an up or down. In fact, if you were to travel in space, there's an infinite number of points that you can travel to. You can travel in many, many different directions, okay? And there are some theories that postulate, if you just say, if you can create a ship that can go faster than the speed of light, that can bend time and space, you would start at one fixed point in space, go to the far edges of the universe, and you would end up back to that same point in space. But again, there's no up or down in space. The reason why the planets are circular is because they rotate. That rotate creates a gravitational pull. It creates a gravity belt that keeps everything on the sphere, on the globe, okay? Some in the flat Earth community are saying, well, if the Earth is circular, then those things at the bottom of the Earth, such as the water, the people, would fall off. No, they would not fall off, because rotation gives you the gravity belt. Space has no up or down. So why would you create a flat Earth where people would be standing on top when there is no top? Because up and down is relative to your position within a fixed body. Do you understand that? Up or down is relative to your position on a fixed body or land mass. And in fact, the Earth, or a mass such as the Earth, warps time and space, okay? And we know time doesn't really exist. Time is relative. Einstein's theory of relativity, time, it does not really exist. And when you look up at the stars, you're looking up at light that is reaching you from a star that is probably millions of years ago and doesn't exist at this present day and time. All right. So I want you to clearly understand where that's coming from, because this flat Earth thing presupposes that there's an up and a down, and there is no up or down in space. So again, I see this as just misinformation to create more division among conspiracy theories, to deflect from the true arguments that need to be presented. Now, let me get into the true arguments that need to be presented. All right. As I said before, there is no such thing, and I've said this on other broadcasts, as discovering something. So you ever wonder why, if you take a microscope and you look at the cells in your body, they mimic the universe. In other words, if you look at the cells in your body, you will see cells that circle around other cells in the nucleus. It'll look like an entire universe within your body. and it mimics the planets, the stars, the rotation, and everything like that. Okay, the synaptic connections in your brain mimic certain gaseous clouds in the universe. Why does it do that? Why does it do that? Okay, because we operate based on a belief system. Okay, so they've already proven doing experiments with particles that the particles behave in accordance with the expectation of the observer. All right, so reality doesn't exist apart from the observer. So when you are looking at these particles, they come into formation because you're composed of these particles into a reality based on your belief system and your expectations. So when you're looking at the cells in your body and how they mimic the solar system, or the brain synaptic connections mimic the star clusters and gas, that is because you are merely looking at a reality, which is an illusion that you have created based on what I call is a template reality. What is a template reality? A template reality is like archetypes of things that we pull from the ether to create the reality that we observe. All right. So let's take this down further. So what we are really observing is that, the basis, that only thing that really exists, and some call information or waves. That's all that really exists. And what are those waves? Those waves are infinite possibilities, infinite possibilities. Now, when you have a belief system, you pull from that wave or information, like the matrix has, just binary code or information, you pull from that wave a reality, and that reality is shaped by the particles taking form, and gives us what the quality that we believe is solid objects. Okay, this is what we create. What we call is the objective realm. And in the beginning, there was only one, and the one was what? The subjective realm. So now, when we're creating the things that exist in our world, where we are doing that in the objective realm. So all that exists is really just information. And that information is stored. Okay. The same way when we understand the principles of a black hole, if you go to the event horizon, what happens at the event horizon? That's the point of no return. You get stretched, you become spaghettified. But what happens to you? The information, Stephen Hawkins tells us, the late Stephen Hawkins tells us that information is stored. Where does it go? They don't know, but that information on who you are is stored. Okay, so what we're saying here is that nothing is lost, and everything that possibly could exist does exist in a potential state. In a potential state. So when I look up, right, and let's say if I look down, and I see cells within my body and other cells orbiting around nucleus or nuclei. And then I look up at the universe and I see Uranus orbiting around the sun, and I see all of that. Why do they mimic each other? Why? Because what you're examining is what they call as fractals. And this is something that ancient African people knew about. Fractals are self-replicating like organisms or things in nature. And they keep duplicating themselves. So when you look up and you see things that mimic what's in the body, and the ancient Kemetic people said, know thyself and you will know the universe, you're looking at fractals. But again, our ancient ancestors knew this. So they were the first pioneers of fractals. But not only that, they were the first pioneers of binary code, which compose the modern day computers. And this is and the scientists, the computer programmers, engineers have already admitted this, that African people were the first ones to create this. In fact, the computer chip you'll find on the hieroglyphics in ancient Egypt, you will find a computer chip there. Now, I can go why you find the computer chip there. I can tell you why, because that computer chip was not always there. It's only there now because you're observing it. You're pulling from the template reality. And now there is a computer chip, but you have no memory of it not being there because at one point in time, it wasn't there. You created it to be there. But modern man says we have discovered that the ancient Egyptians knew about a type of a computer chip or a light bulb. You didn't discover anything. You pulled from the infinite possible potential of what could possibly be, and you manifest that through a vibrational frequency that you resonate to make that thing become visible. All right. Just like we know Christopher Columbus, the murderous psychopath who came to the new world, whatever, the native population was said when they looked at his ship, they couldn't actually see the ship. They had to manifest the ship. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that you exist, in a world that aligns with your belief system. All right. Now, we know that our ancestors created their cities, their states in the form of fractals, right? But let's take this a bit further. Modern science doesn't call it fractals. What do they call it? Holograms. Because what is a hologram? A hologram, if you take a piece of the hologram, let me demonstrate this. Say this is the whole hologram, and you take a piece of it, just a piece. If you look within this hologram, you will see the entire complete hologram within this piece. And if you cut this piece even further and you look in this piece, what will you see? Not a piece. You'll see the entire hologram within this piece. And it's an infinite replicating system like fractals. So what I'm saying to you, my beloved, is don't get caught up on this flat earth nonsense, because Nikola Tesla was right when he said, we don't live on a planet. We live in a realm among infinite realms. He was right. He didn't say infinite realms, but he did say the word realm. And these realms are created by you, the observer. Now, who creates you? God Neteru is the master observer. How do we know that God Neteru is observing? Because you exist. In order for you to exist, someone else has to be the observer. And how do we know that Neter, God, is the observer? Because in the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, the Medu Neter, what is the symbol of God? One of the symbols of God. The all-seeing eye. That is, the all-seeing eye is an analogy, or it's analogous with consciousness. So God is the great consciousness that is observing you, and you are in turn observing the universe, and you are creating the universe by how? You are pulling from the infinite potential, the wavelength, the matrix, the computer program, the information, whatever you want to call it. You're pulling from there one of many possible realities, one of many infinite possible realities, and you are creating that in your space-time continuum. Do you follow me here? So the left brain looks at the minute details, but the right brain looks at the whole picture. I don't care about this whole idea of the earth being flat, or being a sphere, or round, or polka dotted, or triangle. What I'm trying to tell you is it will be whatever aligns with the expectation of the observer. If we all agree tomorrow, which is the MCA, the Mass Collective Agreement, that the Earth was a square polka dot, it would be a square polka dot. Because as the Bible says, if two or more agree, so shall it be. And what we know from modern quantum mechanics is that the particles take shape and act in accordance with the expectations of the observer. So your reality is going to take the form of whatever you want it to take. Got it? All right, then. So let's stop this nonsense of getting confused by these flat earthers who are distracting us from the real core essence of what this is all about, is that you are God man, God woman. You manifest whatever you want. There is no right answer. There is no objective reality. There's no objective reality. It is all a subjective experience for you to do what? To gain experience. Because what is the only thing that is real? The experience. That is the only thing. And what do you do with the experience? The experience, you communicate to your oversoul. And your oversoul collects what? When we talked about the black hole, the event horizon, it collects information. So you are relaying information to the oversoul. All right? So Stop thinking that there's an absolute answer to this. Well, is it flat, or is it round, or is it, let's see what the masses of the people on the planet agree. And then it will be that, because we have the power. And this is exactly what the ruling elite doesn't want you to understand, that if the masses of people awaken to the power that's within them, they're done. It's over. The fat lady is singing. They know that, but they keep us in the dark by creating these false religions like Judaism, Catholicism. And in these false religions, there always has to be an intermediary. There has to be a priest, priestess, or minister that you have to go in between to get to God, and that you will forever be in a stupor state. You will be stupid as to the realization of who you truly are. And then they'll get you caught up on these minute and irrelevant arguments. And then you have fighting, then you have wars. Look at Africa, certain parts of Africa, they're fighting over Islam, who's a true follower of Muhammad. It's ridiculous. This is what they do. And there's so many versions of Christianity. You can be a Southern Baptist, you can be this, you can be that. And they have each other fighting. And then this preacher's a prosperity preacher, but you got to give him money, $60 million, so he can buy his new jet. It's chaotic. And they always want you to come to their congregations, to listen to their sermons, so you could forever be the student and never the master. And that's what I said when I was in those churches. I said, you know what? I've been coming here for a year and listening to this bullshit. When am I going to graduate? When am I going to stand up there and start teaching you and you and you? Oh, Brother Kasanga, it don't work like that. I'm the minister of this church. I said, so you think we fools? You think we're always going to sit here and listen to you? You know, there comes a point when the adult teaches his or her child enough, and they have to say, you are 18 now. You are ready to go out there in the world and experience the world. Yes, you will make mistakes and you will learn from those mistakes, but you are now ready to go out there and experience the world. You are a man. You are a woman. Go now. But does your minister do that? No. They want to keep you coming back every Sunday and tithing and giving money. In fact, a lot of them have ATM machines in their lobby so you can go get some money and tithe to them. This stuff is ridiculousness. That's why what I teach is an empowerment of self, a true knowledge of the universe and what is going on. I don't teach you to come to sermons and listen to me talk. And I don't quote scriptures and psalms out the Medunetta. I could do that. I could go in here and start quoting this stuff to you, but what would it do? It's only appealing to your left brain, because the right brain is dynamic. It's energetic, meaning that it flows. It doesn't. When they went in, the Egyptologists and the archaeologists went into ancient Kemet, Egypt, or Timeri, or Smitawi, whatever you're going to call it, all the same thing. And they were looking for a holy book, and they were looking for a book on mathematics, and they were looking for a book on astronomy, and they couldn't find it. And they couldn't find it for two reasons. Number one, they operated based on the right brain. The right brain is intuitive in its thinking. And you're taught how to think, not to regurgitate information. So it's not written down. In fact, if you study the occult, there exists something which they call the Book of Thoth. The Book of Thoth is really the Book of Tehuti. And they can't find this book. But they realize that the Book of Thoth, the Book of Tehuti, and Aleister Crowley was looking for this, exists in the inner planes, in the etheric realms. That's where it exists. It was created there. And to get to it, you have to go through psychic gates to get there. It's not written down. Do you get what I'm saying? That's how the right brain operates. There's no Sebek book, because Sebek likes to write things down. Sebek's he's a scribe, He's very meticulous in his writing, you know what I mean? Sometimes he corrects my punctuation errors. Dwau Sebek means thank you. Okay. So when you look at this world, you always have to take it back to, why aren't we operating off right brain thinking? Why are we so polarized in left brain thinking? Because the Illuminati, the ruling elite, wants you to do that. That's exactly what they want you to do, so you don't get to the heart of what's going on. And that's what these flat earthers are doing. They're just thinking out their left brain. I'm like, let's get real, man. Let's get into the metaphysics of things and try to understand what's going on in our world. Anyway, I'm done with my sermon. All right. Y'all can tithe if you want. I take credit cards, no checks. So anyway, let me see, just give some recognition to those who just joined. Hatepu D. What is his name? I saw Hogan. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing that. And Kazuki Hatepu. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. So anyway, I want to thank you, and I want to thank all those guys who participated in the contest for naming the Holy Trinity. And some of you were very ingenious in how you responded, because you get both the Greek and the Kemetic names for the Holy Trinity: Asar, Aset, and Heru. So I'm going to be announcing the winner on my next broadcast. And along with that, I'll have another contest. And I think what we're going to do in that one is, I always wanted to get this book out, but we're going to be giving away for the winner of the next contest, a free book on synchronicity by Dr. Kirby Surprise. And it's a phenomenal book. It really teaches you how to use your power. He actually gives detailed instructions on how to use the Osir power within you. All right. So you guys, if you like this, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. I also have the Rape Culture Report, which is available free. You can download it. I also have the Osiris Report. It's free. You can download that. And we have our Patreon campaign, and you can contribute to that. So until next time, this is Kasank Ma'a Keparu reporting from the flat earth. Kasank Ma'a Keparu, son of Ma'at. And that's all for now. Amen Ra.